So in this video or in this class we will discuss about electrostatics. We'll start our discussion related to electrostatics. As you know that electrostatics can be defined as where the electric field or static field are present. That means they do not vary with time. So that means they are actually static. Static means any electrostatic field or fields that are static, that means, or rather they are in rest. So any kind of field or electric field which are not moving or which are at rest, we call this as electrostatic field. It can also be sometimes called that these fields are time invariant. That means these kind of electrostatic field does not vary with time. Okay, so this to study electrostatic field, first we have to have some idea about the type of charge distributions that are actually present in different kind of surfaces and lines and volumes. So we have like this idea of charge distributions. So let us study about the type of charge distributions that we have. So these charge distributions are generally of three categories. Let us say one we call it as linear CD. CD is charge distribution. So that means linear charge distributions can be there. One we have this surface CD, that is surface charge distribution can be there, and another is volume CD, or that is you can write volume CD, where that means the charge is distributed throughout the volume. As the name implies, in case of linear charge distribution, the charge is residing in any kind of line, and in case of surface, the charge is residing in any kind of surface, and in case of volume, the charge will be present in the volume. So these are the basically three types of charge distributions. We will now come to our discussion one by one. So first let us see what this linear charge distribution is. So linear CD, right? So in case of linear charge distribution, the charge is distributed uniformly along a line. So we can write it is charge is distributed uniformly along a line, right? So that means if suppose there is some line is there, and so you will say by linear charge distribution, we will say throughout this line, suppose this is your A, this is your B. So if this is the line, be it a bend line or a straight line, whatever the line can be, so the amount of charge which is distributed uniformly between A to B, this line, is your linear charge distribution. So, or sometimes called as linear charge density, also sometimes they are called as, or rather you can remember, you can find this term also in some places. So same, charge distribution or charge density are same. So if this line is there, we will say simple, this total line is represented by L. Suppose this total length of the line L, we will take a small element of line DL, and this is the unit vector R, and this is the radius, like, okay. So through this line, it is represented as, now lambda, this linear CD is represented by lambda equal to dq dl, right? This is the representation of linear charge distribution or linear charge density. So where you can see there is a line A to B, we will take a small section of the total line L, that's dl, and the normal is represented by a unit vector L. So will the total charge, if the charge residing at this small section of line is Q, so will represented by the differential of Q, the total amount of charge at this point or at this section of line DL, is the differential of this Q with respect to DL. So this is your definition of linear charge distribution or density. After this, we were going to discuss the next to surface and volume, right? So the next is surface charge distribution or surface charge distribution or charge density, right? So this is actually the same thing, same principle will be applied here. That is the charge distributed continuously over some area. Suppose we have this kind of area that we have. We will take a small section of this area ds, and total area we consider it as S, right? So if this is the case, this is represented by sigma equals to dq ds, right? So that means the charge is distributed, surface charge density is charge is distributed continuously over some area, right? Or rather any surface. So if this is considered as a surface, total surface is, you can consider this as S. In S, within S, there is a, we take smaller section of the surface S, and it will be represented by this equation, right? And it is calculated as, it is the section of line, if this is the R, and if you have this unit vector AR, so this kind of figure will calculate if this within the same concept is same. So we will simply use this smaller section of this surface, total surface ds. So to calculate what amount of charge is present within this ds, we will simply take the differential of that q, that is the amount of charge residing in ds, and with respect to the total surface s ds. Here we are using this ds. Now if you want to see, one technique is that if you want to see or calculate what is the total amount of charge that is present within the total surface, we will simply use the integration of this. We are finding it the charge density at this ds element, so we will simply integrate to get the total one, right? So the next section is our volume charge density or volume charge distribution. So the concept is again same. It is uniformly distributed over a volume, right? A volume means it can be a sphere, it can be a cone, or any kind of volume. It can be a rectangular parallelepiped, any kind of volume. So we generally represent this as this equation, dq dv, only v term will be there. And again, if there is some volume, kind of arbitrary volume, this is a 3D volume you can consider, and within that volume we will simply take some section of this volume, and we call this volume as dv, and the total volume as v. We'll simply take from any point, and this is your total length of this line r, and this is your ar, is a vector. So this will be the volume charge density that is represented. So one thing is to remember that in case of surface charge density, the unit will be per centimeter to the power -2 or per centimeter square, and here in case of volume it is centimeter or any unit of length to the power -3. So this is your per centimeter cube, and for linear case, which we discussed for linear CD, the unit will be centimeter -1 or rather per centimeter. So these are the types of charge distribution that we have in our electrostatic. So next we will come to our discussion related to the Coulomb's law, that is the fundamental laws of electrostatic. So here is the fundamental law of electrostatic, which we call Coulomb's law. I have written it for you. So this is the same law that you have studied many times in +2 and all. So let us just shortly discuss what the concept was. Concept is actually there are 2 points and 2 charges q1 and q2. This is being separated by some distance, which we call this as r. So the total force experienced is equals to, or rather directly related to, the product of the 2 charges q1 and q2, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them, which is r. So directly proportional to q1 and q2, that is the 2 charges or magnitude of the 2 charges that are there, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the 2 point charges, right? And the third most point is that it reacts in the straight line between q1 and q2. So this is your Coulomb's law. This is what your Coulomb's law tells us. So in vacuum, like in case of, so we'll have some medium, so we'll take out this inverse, I mean proportional sign, so in Beckham we can write that this f is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square. We are simply using this constant. This is your constant term, where this epsilon naught is known as the permittivity of the free space. So this is your permittivity of free space, right? And what is the value? The value is 8.85418 into 10 to the power minus 12 farad per meter. So this is the value in MK system. So this is your constant term. In case of vacuum, we can represent this Coulomb law like this. So let us see revise the vector form also, that we have also studied. Vector form. Okay, so what is the vector form? Vector form is represented by f12 equals to the same thing, 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square ar. Here the unit vector sign comes. And f12 is, what is f12? F1 and 2, see this term is coming new. F12 is the force. Remember that this is the force exerted by charge q1 on charge q2. That means f12 we can write force exerted by charge q1. So this q1, one is this one is represented by here, on charge q2. Since q2 on overcharge q2, I have written it second. So if you can reverse it one, I mean if this can be force exerted by charge q2 over q1 also, so simply the sign will alter and a negative sign will come. That is because of the reverse direction. So let us now see how this is occurring. So to do that, we will simply draw a straight line. We'll represent a point A where this q1 charge is there, and say B is another point, and q1 q2 charge is there, and this is the force exerted by 1 over charge q2, right? So we can find out from this figure, this is your direction of AR, that is unit vector. As I said you, it acts as a straight line from q1 to q2, right? So force, we can write from this figure that force exerted by charge q2 on q1 is f21. That is here exerted by charge q2 on q1, so 2 comes first, so it will be f21. So we can find out as f21 equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square. Only minus AR sign will be there because here the direction is reversed, right? So these two we have got. So previous equation, if I consider that previous equation 1 and this equation as 2, 1 means this I am talking about f of 1 2. So this equation I have taken as equation 1 and this equation I have taken equation number 2. So we can write from 1 and 2, we can write f21 equals to minus of f1, right? And also if we consider that q1 equals to q2 equals to 1 and this distance r1 equals to 1 meter, if I consider as all the system as unity 1, every values are 1, so then f will be equals to 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton, right? So this is the definition of 1 coulomb. From here I can get the definition of 1 coulomb of force. This is force. So here we can say that we get the definition of 1 coulomb, what it said. Therefore 1 coulomb, let me omit it and write it fresh. So I'm omitting it for you. So we can define 1 coulomb of charge like this. One from that expression that we last got, we can write 1 coulomb is defined as the quantity of charge which when placed 1 meter from an equal and opposite charge in vacuum repels. Why repels? Because equal charge of equal sign, equal magnitude and equal sign, if we take, it will repel. Repels by how much force? Repels it with force of 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton. So this is the value that we obtained last. So 1 Coulomb charge can be defined as the quantity of charge which, when placed 1 meter from an equal and opposite charge in vacuum, repels it with force 9 into 10 to the power Newton. So this is the definition of, if someone says you what is define 1 Coulomb, so this is your definition which comes from the Coulomb's law, right? Next part of our discussion will be regarding electric field intensity, right? So this, what is this electric field intensity? We can define this electric field intensity at a point. It is meaning, I mean, what is the physical significance? We can define it by the strength of the electric field at that point. So we can write simply electric field intensity means strength of that E field at any point or at that point of our consideration, right? Also, what it means actually, it meaning the force experienced by unit positive charge placed at that point. So we can also write that. So that is somewhere in by the definition of electric field intensity, or sometime shortly it is written as EFI. So EFI, we can define it as the force experienced by unit positive charge placed at that point. So conversely, we can define by both of the definitions. This is the physical significance of EFI, which is meaning the strength of the electric field at that particular point. Of course, this electric field will be a static one. Also, we can define it, this EFI, as force experienced by unit positive charge placed at that point, and it is represented by E equals to F by Q naught, right? Where F is the force acting on the test charge. F can be written as, let me write it for you. It will be the force acting on test charge, that is any charge which is placed under consideration or placed in test. Any charge, let us consider at Q naught at any point. So if we represent it by any test charge, that is Q naught, so we can define it by this expression E equals to F by Q naught. So what are the points that we need to remember regarding this electric field intensity or EFI is that it is a vector. First point to remember, it is a vector quantity, right? Next, what is the point? So direction of E, that is electric field intensity electric field intensity or EFI represented by E. It will be the one of the properties. Direction of this E is same as the direction of the force F, right? So both the direction of E and F shall be or should be same. And unit SI, in case of SI unit, we can write it as unit will be Newton per Coulomb, or this to remember, this will be Newton per Coulomb. So this will be the general definition of electric field density. Now let us come to the discussion of electric field intensity for a point charge, right? If for a point charge means if the unit charge is placed, we are considering unit charge placed anywhere. So we have to calculate the electric field intensity for due to that point charge. So we can simply define it as, write it, let me write it for you, that is EFI due to a point charge. Okay, so this is our point of discussion. So for that we simply draw a figure where 2 points will be there. One is Q, another is Q naught, and this is the direction of force F. Let us represent this point as O and this point as P. So at the point P, where Q naught charge, a test charge Q naught is present, at the point O, the charge is Q is present and they are separated by a distance R. Okay, so we have to calculate the EFI at a point P. In this point P, we need to calculate at the point P what will be the EFI due to a point charge Q placed at O. So what we need to find out? We need to find out at the point P some charge is present Q naught. So we need to calculate at this point P the EFI. We need to calculate the EFI at here. So we need to calculate EFI at this point P due to the point charge that is placed at O, that is due to the point charge Q which is placed at the point O. Okay, and the distance of separation being R. So it is our objective. So for that, what we will do, simply consider a small positive test charge Q naught at P. Okay, so we are simply consider at the point. So you people may ask you, say, find out the electric field intensity at a point due to another point charge, right? So this kind of question sometime may appear of 2 marks. So for that you simply draw this figure and consider a small charge, positive charge, test charge Q naught which is placed at P. Now we are going to find out the EFI, right, at the point P. So from Coulomb's law we can write, from Coulomb's law we can write force exerted at P or the force experienced at the point P will be from Coulomb's law equals to, we have already found out, so 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q, or here it is not Q1, so one is Q, another is Q naught by R square, and the vector, unit vector is AR, right? So therefore, so from the definition of EFI, what is that? We have defined EFI, this EFI we have defined it as E equals to F by Q naught. If you can remember, we have just discussed before. So this is the definition of EFI. So now we will find out EFI. Therefore E can be, E is representation of the EFI. So E will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught by Q by R square AR. Why? Because Q naught and it is divided, EFI is F by Q naught. So one here, one Q naught will be there, one Q naught is already there, so Q naught cancels out. So this will be your representation of electric field intensity due to a point charge P, right? So this is your final expression. From the next class onward, we will see what is the EFI condition when different conditions are present, different conditions are applied. Then in those cases, what will be the EFI in those conditions, right?